Good day, everyone. I am Kirsten Isaac Rakiza, and I am here to be with you for your civil service exam review, or basically your rationalization for the general information of your mock test 2 that you just answered. This will cover numbers 1 to 50. Sige, ready na? I hope you are already focused and ready for this rationalization. And konti lang to guys, 50 items lang. So without further ado, let us begin with question number 1. Question number 1. Greenhouse gases and is re-radiated in all directions. Is it 1, ozone layer, 2, solar radiation, global warming, greenhouse effect, or 5, condensation? Sabi daw, example daw siya ng greenhouse gas. Tapos, or greenhouse gas daw siya, or greenhouse gases daw siya, tapos na-scatter in different directions. Ano daw ang tawag doon? Is it ozone layer, solar radiation, global warming, greenhouse effect, or condensation? Sige, para malaman natin, isa-isahin natin sila. Ozone layer, guys, is the protective layer in the Earth's stratosphere that absorbs harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So basically, acts like our shield. Parang nasi-shieldan tayo doon sa mga delikado or nakaka-harm na mga ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Di ba nga, pag numinipis ang ozone layer, kasi nga nasisira yun because of um, smoke or too much carbon dioxide, 'di ba, nabubutas or nasisira yung ating ozone layer. Napapansin niyo mas umiinit ang ating sun. Sige, that's the effect, no? When the ozone layer is thinned o kaya nasisira, umiinit or mas direkta tayong nakaka-receive ng init from the sun. When we say solar radiation naman, it is the energy emitted by the sun. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng energy na emitted ng sun, kasama yung visible light, ultraviolet light, and infrared energy. So basically, radiation na galing sa sun, solar radiation. When we say global warming, it is the gradual increase in the Earth's average keyword temperature. Ibig sabihin, tumataas ang ating temperature. Ibig sabihin, umiinit ng umiinit ang ating Earth, no? Due to the buildup of greenhouse gases from human activity. So, ang greenhouse gases, guys, is lahat ng gases na result ng human activities. Example nun is yung car exhaust o yung buga ng isang sasakyan o yung usok ng isang industry or ng isang factory, yung pagsunog natin ng bonfire, no? So those are all contributants to global warming. When we say greenhouse effect naman, is this the process where certain gases in the atmosphere trap the heat, keeping the earth warm enough to sustain life. Ito naman yung effect na yung ibang gas ay tinatrap yung heat para uminit ng konti yung earth para ma-sustain natin yung life. Kasi nga, kailangan din natin ng init para mag-create tayo ng moisture. Ganun din sa lamig, di ba? So, basically, greenhouse effect is para siyang nagiging net na nagtatrap ng gases in the atmosphere para ma-redistribute or ma-scatter ulit sa atin. Kumbaga, para ma-sustain natin yung life. Kumbaga, kunwari, you are a fisherman. Tapos, manghuhuli ka ng isda, itatrap mo sa net yung isda. Tapos yung isda, ipamimigay mo sa lahat. Ganon. Yun yung greenhouse effect. Kasi nga, nagtatrap ng heat, yung ginatrap ng heat ng greenhouse effect, and then gina-distribute balik or ina-scatter balik sa atin. Pero ang problema kasi, too much heat ang natatrap, kaya umiinit din ang ating Earth. Yun. Next, when we say condensation, it is simply the process where water vapor cools and changes into liquid droplets, often forming clouds or dew. 'Di ba ito yung second part ng rain, evaporation, evaporate yung mga droplets or for example water mag-evaporate sila para mag-form ng nagiging droplets forming clouds or dew. Condensation saka pa mag-precipitate which is uulan. 'Yon. Na yung pangalawang step, 'di ba? Or pangalawang level ng cycle, yan. Basta pangalawang step ng raining cycle, 'di ba? Evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. So wala naman siyang kinalaman, no? Hindi natin isasagot si condensation. Wala naman siyang kinalaman, no? Yung ozone layer naman, although it is a protective layer, ang sabi kasi dito, greenhouse gas daw, tapos nare-radiate. Ibig sabihin na scatter ulit in all directions. So, hindi na to siya sasagot. Yung solar radiation, same lang, ano lang siya, parang ordinary na radiation from the sun. Eh, hindi naman yung hinahanap natin. At yung global warming naman is effect na yun ng too much heat. Eh, hindi naman sinabi dito may too much heat, no? So, ang correct answer po natin dyan ay, of course, greenhouse effect. Again, greenhouse effect. Sige, number 2 na tayo, guys. Wildlife Resources Convention and Protection Act is also known as A. Republic Act number 9147, 2. Republic Act number 9729, or 3. Republic Act number 7611, or 4. Republic Act number 9003, or number 5, Republic Act number 7942. Ngayon guys, ito talaga na question. This is a knowledge question. Kumbaga, kung hindi mo talaga alam yung Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act, hindi ka talaga makakasagot. So, ang gagawin natin dito is memorization lang. Memorize lang talaga, guys. So, i-memorize natin na yung Republic Act 9147, ito yung about, 90s, magsimula tayo sa number 5 ha. Magsimula tayo sa number 5. Pag sinabi natin yung Republic Act 7942, it is called the Philippine Mining Act of 1995. Again, kapag 7942, it's the Philippine Mining Act of 1995. Pag sinabi naman natin Republic Act 1903, that is the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. So para matandaan nyo guys, may dalawang zero dyan para doon sa 2000, no? Wala siyang last. Yan. Again, Republic Act 1903, it refers to the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. When referring to number 3, when Republic Act number 7611 refers to the Strategic Environmental Plan for Palawan Act. Again, it refers to the Strategic Environmental Plan for Palawan Act. Again, yung 7611 refers to Strategic Environmental Plan for Palawan Act. And when we say 9729, that refers to the Climate Change Act of 2009. So Republic Act number 9729 refers to Climate Change Act of 2009. And then finally, Republic Act number 9147 refers to the Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act. Again, ang 9147 po ang Wildlife Conservation and Protection Act. So, ang correct answer po natin dyan ay number 1, Republic Act 9147. Again, Wildlife Resources, 9147. Pag Climate Change Act, 9729. Kapag Environmental Plan for Palawan, that is 7611. Pag Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000, that's 9003. And the Philippine Mining Act of 1995 is Republic Act 7942. Sige. I hope na memorize nyo yan, guys. I-memorize lang, ibalik-balik nyo lang. Yun yung parang key to memorization is repetition. Di ba nga? Pag pinabalik-balik mo, eventually, mamememorize mo talaga yan. Kaya ibalik-balik mo lang, guys. Number 3 na tayo. Republic Act number 7942 is also known as, kung babalik tayo dito, asan dyan yung 7942? That is the Philippine Mining Act of 1995. Ayan o, nandito yan. So, ang correct answer po natin sa number 3 ay number 1. So, pag sinabi nating wildlife resources, that is 9147. Ito. That is 9147. Yung Philippine Clean Air hindi pa natin natackle yan. Ito naman is 9003. Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. Ayan yon. So, ito yung Philippine Mining Act. Ito yung 7942. Yung 9147 naman is Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act. At pag sinabi natin 9003, that is the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. Okay? Sige. Number 4 na tayo. Di ba mabilis lang guys? Kasi ito ay fact-based questions. Ibig sabihin, ang gagawin nyo lang talaga is memorize. Wala tayong ibang route kundi mag-memorize because it's just general information. No? Kahit pa anong analyze natin, kung hindi talaga natin alam, then we will have difficulty in answering the question. Okay, let's proceed to number 4. Number 4, guys, ang question is, which of the following statements best describes the Philippines? Sandiyan daw yung pinaka may best description ng Philippines. 1. It is composed of 7,100 islands. 2. It is an archipelago with 7,641 islands off the coast of Vietnam. 3. It is an island country located in southwestern Asia. 4. Its terrains are composed mostly of rainforest. 5. None of the above. Yan. Sige guys. Ang Sige. Let's begin with number 1. Number 1 says it is composed of 7,107 islands. Before, this was a fact dati, no? Kasi nga, ang nakita lang na islands is 7,107. But because of modern technology, we were now able to detect more islands. So, ibig sabihin, hindi na lang daw 7,100 islands ang nakita sa Pilipinas. In fact, it was proven na it was more than that. So, marami pang nakitang island because of, dati kasi hindi pa yun siya na-discover because of the limitation of technology. Kumbaga, hindi natin sila ma-reach na islands. But because of modern day technology, na kaya na nating ma-reach yung mga unreachable parts na dati hindi natin na napupuntahan. So, na-discover ngayon, it's more than 7,100 island. So, pwede naman siya, no? Pwede naman siya. Pero ang question kasi natin is, best describe. Ibig sabihin, saan dyan yung may pinaka-best description? Tignan natin si number 2. It is an archipelago with 7,641 islands off the coast of Vietnam. Correct din siya. Kasi ito na yung sinasabi kong mas marami ng islands na na-discover, which is 7,641. That is the up-to-date um, findings. Ano? And when we say archipelago, it means group of islands. Group of islands ba ang Philippines? Of course. Group of islands po ang Philippines. And that is why, pwede na. Check na si statement na ito. Check na din itong statement na ito. How about off the coast of Vietnam? Yes, malapit po talaga tayo sa Vietnam, kaya check din po ang statement na yan. How about number 3? So, pwede na yung number 1, pwede na yung number 2. How about number 3? It is an island country located in southwestern Asia. Oh, first of all, we're not just an island country, we're a group of islands country. Tapos, hindi po tayo sa Southwestern Asia. Sa Southeast Asia po tayo. Kaya nga member po tayo ng Association for Southeast Asian Nations or the ASEAN organization because we are part of the Southeast Asia. So, hindi na natin isasagot. See, number 3. How about number 4? Its terrains are composed mostly of rainforest. May rainforest ba sa Philippines? Ang rainforest po ay doon sa mga western countries like USA, di ba? The Amazon rainforest, ganon. Pero sa Philippines, hindi po. So, ang correct answer po natin dyan is 1 and 2. Pero ang hinahanap po natin is the best description of the Philippines. And ang pinaka-kompleto po na description dyan ay si number 2. Correct answer po natin sa question number 4 is number 2. Okay, let's proceed to number 5. Number 5. Which of the following is the priority project of the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, or the DNR, for solid waste management? Is it 1. Tree planting as part of mandatory activities for government officials? 2. Close dump sites and put up material recovery facilities? 3. Reconstruct government penalties for illegal logging? Or 4. Train individuals to earn extra income through recycling? Or 5. Bantay kalikasan? Now, this is actually a knowledge-based question pa rin. Asan dyan daw yung priority project ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources? Asan daw dyan, guys? No? Asan daw yung priority project dyan? For, specifically, solid waste management. Now, kung titignan natin po, ang priority projects ng DNR, tignan natin. Ayan. According to the DNR, they have this intensified environmental protection on solid waste management. Sabi niya dyan, nakalagay, the DNR will be implementing environmental protection programs and projects. For solid waste management, specify yung solid waste management, our priority activities are the following. Are the following daw. Closure of dump sites. Sabi niya, closure of dump sites. Ayan. Closure of dump sites. And establishment of material recovery facilities. Material recovery facilities. So ang dalawa ang kanilang priority, that is the closure of dump sites and the establishment of material recovery facilities. Balik tayo sa ating options. Saan dyan yung may closure of, yan, saan dyan yung may closure of dump sites and put up material recovery facilities? Of course, that is number Number 2. Number 2 po ang may closure and dump sites. Verbatim po siya na nakalagay doon sa DENR na stipulations on their projects, no? Kasi kung titignan mo din, asan dyan yung pinaka logical. Sinabi, tree planting as part of mandatory activities for government officials. Oh, reconstruct government penalties for illegal logging. Meron na yan. Actually, meron ng penalty sa illegal logging, pero hindi naman talaga siya. Ayan, kaya nga sabing reconstruct. Pero reconstruct mo, paano, ang kulang naman natin is bigyan ng ngipin ang batas. Kumbaga, i-enforce talaga yung batas. Train individuals para may extra income through recycling. Again, solid waste management. Pwede naman yung recycling, pero priority project yung hinahanap, di ba? So, priority ba yung extra income? Hindi. Bantay kalikasan naman is very generic, no? Hindi naman talaga siya. It does not necessarily respond to the uh, problems of solid waste management. Sige, let's proceed to number 6. You have observed that some residents in your community throw their garbage in the estero nearby. What can be your best action on this? 1. Record it and post it on social media to shame them. 2. Report to the barangay and ask the barangay captain to do something. Or 3. Post a no throwing of garbage in the estero. 4. Never mind at all. You are too young to do anything about it. Or 5. Facebook post. Many people would resort to number 5, yung Facebook post. Magpo-post na lang bigla-bigla. But you see, when you publicize problems like that, it does not necessarily solve the problem. Ibig sabihin, kahit pa i-publicize mo tong problem na ito, hindi agad siya masosolve. Kasi wala namang, kahit pa mag-viral yan, kung walang gagawa, wala talagang magbabago. Ang tanong dyan, what is your best action? Ibig sabihin, ikaw mismo, ano yung gagawin mo? No? Kasi kung magpo-post ka lang, mag-aantay ka na may magagawang iba. Diba? So, hindi natin isasagot si number 5. About never mind at all, wala kang paki. You are too young to do anything about it. Masyado ka ba ng bata para may gawin para doon? Sabi nga ni Karen Ebasco, the real problem in this world is our ignorance and apathy. Ano ibig sabihin ng apathy? Kawalang pakialaman. Ibig sabihin, we are indifferent to the problem of the world. Pag wala tayong pakialam sa problema ng world, that is when problems get worse. And eventually, it will come back to us directly talaga. So, hindi mo yun isasagot. Kasi mabait ka na citizen, no? May pakialam ka na citizen. Wala kang apathy. Meron kang empathy. Tingnan natin sa number 3. Post and no throwing of garbage in the estero. Pwede naman yung mag-post ka ng wag no throwing of garbage. Pwede naman yon. Ang problema kasi, yung signs kasi, ginaput up lang siya, or what they call this, sige, wait lang. Again, we're going back. May nagpop up kasi notification. I'm very sorry. Sabi dito, ang no posting kasi, ginagawa lang yun siya ng mga authorized personnel. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng kahit anong signs basta-basta kung hindi mo yan pag-aari. If it's private property, then you have the right to do something about it. Pero kung hindi siya private property, hindi pwede. Wala kang pwedeng gawin na basta-basta ka na lang mag-put ng parang signage. So, hindi natin isasagot si number 3. How about number 2? Report to the barangay and ask the barangay captain to do something. Pwede naman na mag-report ka sa barangay. Kasi diba most of the time, pag may problema kayo, ang ginagawa nyo is magre-report muna kayo sa barangay, tapos yung antayin nyo na yung barangay ang may gagawin. No? Pwede naman siya. Ang record it and post it on your social media to shame them. Okay naman yung record it and post it on social media. Pero ang purpose mo kasi is to shame them. Ibig sabihin, pahiyain sila. No? And inevitably, although you are solving one problem or your aim is to solve one problem, inevitably, gagawa ka ng bagong problem, which is public humiliation. And public humiliation, class, is also bad thing. It's also a bad thing. It's considered as a bad thing also. So, hindi din natin yan isasagot. So, ano lang yung best answer dyan? Of course, number 2. Bago ka dumulog sa higher authorities, pumunta ka muna dyan sa pinaka-local authorities. Yun po yung tinatawag natin na local government units. Kasama dun yung barangay. Sila kasi yung may responsibility to do something about the community. And responsibility mo as a member of that community to report what is happening na hindi maganda sa inyong community. Correct? Sige. Number 7 na po tayo. Number 7. What form of government does the Philippines adopt? Ano daw klase ng government ang ina-adapt ng Philippines? So, Republican, Democratic, Federalism, both A and B, or monarchy? Sige. Para malaman natin yung answer dyan, isa-isahin natin yung Republican, Democratic, Federalism, and both A and B monarchy. Ayan. Sige. Um, when we say Republican, it means the government is led by elected representatives. Ibig sabihin, ang power ay nandoon sa mga representative na binoto ng mga tao. Ang Democratic naman, ito yung government by the people. Ibig sabihin, nasa tao yung kapangyarihan pero mag-i-elect din sila or they're elected leaders. Yan. Ito yung sila yung may kapangyarihan, sila yung magde-decide kung sino yung mamumuno sa kanila. Yun yung democratic. Yun yung mostly ginagawa ng most countries. Pag sinabi natin federalism, the power is shared between central and regional government. Yun bang, meron tayong central government at meron ding regional government na may kakaiba, meron din silang special powers, ganon. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang lahat nanggagaling sa central government, kundi pati sa regional governments. Yun yung type of government sa USA. Di ba sa USA, meron silang federalism. Ibig sabihin, each state ay meron din silang sariling power. Pero lahat sila ay nag-share ng power with the central government. Yun yung gusto before ng previous administration. Kasi pag federalism ka, mas mapapadali ang pag-process ng lahat. Di ba pag in a central government, lahat ng funding ay mapupunta doon sa central government. Tapos ang central government ang magdi-distribute sa lahat ng other regions. Whereas pag federalism, yung region, yung income ng region na yan, ay sa region na yan. 'Di ba? So hindi niya na kailangan pumunta pa doon sa central government bago siya bago siya maka-receive ng budget. Kasi nga, i-remit niya muna. Ang nangyayari kasi sa central government is, lahat ng income, kunwari, ng each region, i-remit natin yan sa central government. Ang central government, siya yung mag-distribute ng income. Whereas pag federal government ka kasi, yung region mo, may autonomy din sila. Pero subject to the central government pa rin. Ganun yon. And pag both A and B, of course, yung Republican and Democratic. And then finally, pag monarchy naman, ito yung sinasabi natin, ruled by the king or the queen. An example niyan is yung England. Pero in England, I think is constitutional monarchy or parang ibang klase ng monarchy na siya. Parang yung monarchy or yung king or queen is simply figureheads. Ibig sabihin, wala silang tunay na kapangyarihan. Pero yung monarchy kasi dati, yung mga ancient times or the medieval era, ang monarchy, ang king and queen talaga yung may actual na kapangyarihan. Sila yung absolute power. 'Di ba? Yun. So ano ba yung meron sa Philippines? We are democratic, that's true. And we are also Republican because we allow our representatives to govern the government. So, ang correct answer po natin dyan ay letter number 4, both A and B. We are both a republic and a democrat. Yan, sige. Number 8 na tayo. What is the power of the state to take private property for public use upon payment of a just compensation? Ano daw ang kapangyarihan ng gobyerno or ng state na magkuha ng private property para gamitin sa public, pero babayaran mo yung private property na yun? Ano ang tawag doon? 1, right of confiscation. 2, right of limiting resources. 3, right of sequestration. 4, right of eminent domain. Or 5, police power. Ayan. Ano ba yan, sir? Bakit malalalim? Sige, isa-isay natin. Yung right of confiscation, guys, ito yung government's authority to take a property without compensation, often as a penalty for crimes or illegal activities. Ibig sabihin, ito yung kapangyarihan ng government na kunin ang isang property na hindi ka babayaran. Ibig sabihin, kukunin lang nila yan by confiscating. Kasi, it's either you obtain that property for, ginamit yan para sa crime or illegal activities. Kaya napapansin nyo, yung mga nag-i-embezzle ng funds or yung mga drug addicts or mga drug lords or yung mga sila yung mga nagbebenta ng mga illegal na mga contraband, ganon, yung mga assets nila ay fini-freeze. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng kunin yun ng government without paying them. 'Di ba? Pwedeng i-seize yun ng government kasi ginamit siya sa illegal and criminal activities. Yun yung right of confiscation, kapangyarihan yun ng government. Pag sinabi natin right of limiting resources, ito naman yung government's power to regulate the use and distribution of natural resources to ensure sustainable development and public welfare. Ito naman yung ano ba, yung kapangyarihan ng gobyerno na kapag limited lang yung resources, hindi ka pwedeng mag-hoard. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo pwedeng kunin lahat ng resources. Pwedeng kunin ng government yung resources mo para ma-distribute siya equally sa lahat. Ganon. Kunwari, ikaw yung may pinakamadaming bigas. Tapos, sa panahon ng rice crisis, kunwari, nagkaubos na ng bigas, ikaw yung may pinakamaraming bigas. Pwedeng kunin ng government yung bigas na hawak mo para i-distribute sa lahat equally. Yun yung power or right of limiting resources. Pag sinabi naman natin right of sequestration, ito naman yung the temporary seizure of property by the government, usually in cases of legal disputes or for national security concerns. Ito yun bang kukunin mo na yan, yung property na yan, kunwari, meron dalawa kayong nagagawan sa property na yan. So, para walang makaklaim ng property na yan, kukunin mo na yun ng government temporarily until masettle yung case kung sino talaga ang may-ari ng ang property na yan. Pwede din yung national security concerns. Kunwari, itong property na ito ay may bomb siya dyan, tas private property yan. Pag related yung national security, pwede muna nila yung kunin yung property na yan temporarily until masolve nila yung national security concern. Yan. Pag sinabi naman natin yung right of eminent domain, ito naman yung government's authority to expropriate private property. Ibig sabihin, kukunin nila yung private property for public use. Gamitin yung private property para sa public use with just compensation to the owner. Ibig sabihin, may karapat-dapat or karampatang bayad sa owner ng private property na yun. So, yun yung right to eminent domain. Pag sinabi natin police power, it is the government's inherent authority to regulate behavior and enforce laws to protect public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Ito yung, yung kapangyarihan talaga ng gobyerno para magdisiplina, mag-regulate ng behavior, at magpatupad ng batas. So, saan dyan daw yung pwedeng kunin ng government ang private property, pero babayaran ng karampatang compensation. Of course, that is the right of eminent domain. Ayan, again, pag right of conversation, ito yung kunin yung property mo na hindi ka babayaran. Pero pag right of eminent domain, kukunin yung property mo pero babayaran ka. Yan, no? So, ibig sabihin, kahit ayaw mo pa siyang ibenta, wala kang choice kasi may kapangyarihan ang gobyerno. For example, tatayuan dyan or parang gagawa ng highway dyan. Tapos, nandyan yung property mo. Pwede nilang kunin yung property mo or pwede nilang kunin yung property mo kahit hindi mo siya gustong ipagbili because they have the power or the right of eminent domain. Pero babayaran ka naman nila. Number 9. Which of the following may issue a warrant of arrest or a search warrant? Sino daw sa kanila ang pwedeng magbigay ng warrant of arrest or ng search warrant? Ang warrant of arrest, ibig sabihin, nagbibigay siya ng pahintulot sa mga pulis na arestuhin ang isang private individual or let's say ang isang tao or criminal. Ang search warrant naman po, ito naman po yung kapangyarihan ng mga police, FBI, or sino pa mang government authority na maghalughog or maghanap ng iba't ibang, let's say, evidence sa inyong bahay. Ganon. Pwede silang pumasok sa inyong bahay pag may search warrant sila. Ayan. So, sino dyan yung pwede magbigay? Isa lang po ang pwede magbigay ng search warrant or warrant of arrest, and that is the judge. The judge po. Hindi pwede magbigay ang senator, hindi din pwede ang congressman kasi ang power po nila ay legislation. Legislation, that means gagawa sila ng batas. That is lawmaking. No? And the president naman po is executive, iba naman po ang power niya, and the police chief is also an enforcer of the law. Ibig sabihin, siya naman yung gagamit ng warrant of arrest. So si judge, ibibigay niya kay police officer or kay police chief yung warrant of arrest, tapos si police or chief or police officer yung magbabasa ng warrant of arrest doon sa aarestuhin. Yes. Number 10 na tayo. Which of the following sectors is not represented in the House of Representatives through the party list system? Asan dyan daw yung hindi nire-representa sa House of Representatives or ng Congress through a party list system. Asan dyan daw hindi kasali? Is it the religious sector? Is it the youth sector? Is it the women? Is it the peasant? Is it the labor? Sige, tignan natin. Of course, yung number 5, labor po. May party list po talaga tayo pa sa labor kasi importante po na nire-represent natin yung mga manggagawang Pinoy. So, kasama po yan siya. Ang sabi dito, not represented. So, kasama yan. How about peasants? Ang peasant po ay ang ordinaryong Pilipino. Sabihin, yung mga average Filipino people. So, kasama po sila kasi lahat po dapat ay may representasyon sa House of Representatives. Kasama po siya. Ang women po, di ba, are you familiar with the Gabriela Party List? No? Kasama po ang Gabriela Party List sa House of Representatives. Kaya kasama po ang women. Ang youth naman po, meron din po tayong organization or party list para sa kabataan. So meron din po tayong congressman or congresswoman para dyan. So kasama din po siya at represented din po siya sa House of Representatives. How about religious groups po? Pwede po bang gumawa ng isang party list ang religious groups? Hindi po. Because very naka-specify po sa ating Constitution of the Philippines, nakalagay doon, the state, the separation of the church and the state is inviolable. Ibig sabihin, hindi po pwedeng makialam ang gobyerno sa mga matters of the church at hindi pwedeng makialam ang church sa matters of the government. Ibig sabihin, ang religion at ang government ay magkaiba at separate. Ayun. So, hindi po natin siya pwedeng isama. Kasi in secularization concept, magkaiba po talaga or the church or the religious groups ay may iba pong kapangyarihan sa kapangyarihan ng gobyerno. Kaya nga dapat hindi po talaga sila nag-iimpluwensyohan. Kaya nga pag may pinatupad na batas, hindi po dapat gawing argumento na ito ay violation ng religious belief. Kasi ang religion po ay iba po siya sa government. Kapag nag-mix po silang dalawa, hindi na po pwedeng gumawa tayo ng laws based on that. Gets po? Yes. Number 11 tayo. Sige. Number 11. Who may be appointed as member of the cabinet? Okay. Sige. Wait lang po, sandali lang. Okay, let's continue, guys. So number 11, who may be appointed as member of the cabinet without needing confirmation from the Commission on Appointments? Is it 1, Senate President, 2, any senator, 3, Vice President, Speaker of the House, or any Congress representative? Now, ang Commission on Appointments po, sila po ang nagko-confirm kung ang isang official na i-appoint sa cabinet or yung mga department secretaries ay ma-confirm. Ngayon, meron daw pong isa na official ng government na exempted from the Commission on Appointments. Sino daw po yun? Is it the Senate President? Ang Senate President po, kapag na-appoint bilang secretary or bilang isang cabinet member, kailangan niya pong bitawan ang pagiging Senate President. So, hindi na po yun siya pwede. Ang senator po, ganoon din po siya, bibitawan niya din po ang kanyang position as senator para maging cabinet secretary. Yan po ang nangyari kay Sonny Angara. Di ba siya po ay current sitting senator, pero binitawan niya ang pagiging senator para maging Department of Education Secretary, no? So, ang Speaker of the House naman po, number 4, ang Speaker of the House naman po ay bibitawan niya rin ang kanyang posisyon kung gusto niyang maging member of the cabinet. So, hindi natin siya pwede. Ganon din po sa Congress. Isa lang po ang exempted sa Commission on Appointments kapag mai-appoint bilang member of the cabinet, and that is the Vice President of the Philippines. Because technically po, wala pong trabaho ang Vice President kundi maging kahalili ng President in case upon the death of the President or the incapacitation of the President. So, yun lang po ang trabaho talaga ng Vice President. But because wala siyang official talaga na duties at pwede lang siya mag-propose ng programs, ang gagawin na lang po ng Vice President or ang ginagawa na lang po talaga ng Vice President ay pwede siyang ma-appoint bilang secretary or member of the cabinet without confirmation from the Commission on Appointments. Diretso na po siya. Number 12 na po tayo. Right of association includes the right not to be compelled to join an association. Sabi daw dito, ang karapatan daw para sumali ay kasama ang karapatan, kasama daw sa karapatang sumali, ang karapatang hindi ma-force na sumali. Tama ba yun? So, pag may karapatan ka daw sumali, may karapatan ka din hindi sumali or hindi ka pwedeng pilitin para sumali. So, tama po ba yun? Is it 1 always false? 2 true, 3 true when person is threatened, 4 false when people is threatened, 5 depends on SA ruling. Ang karapatan pong sumali at ang karapatang hindi sumali ay always true po. Siyempre, pag may karapatan kang ma-associate, meron ka rin pong karapatang hindi mapilit na mag-associate. Number 13. This is a legal document that commands a person or entity to testify as a witness at a specified time and place at a deposition, trial, or other hearing, and or to produce documents or other tangible objects in a legal proceeding. Is it 1. Summon, 2. Court order, 3. Subpoena, 4. Call to court, or 5. Parole? Ayan. Ano daw po ang what do you call this? Tawag doon sa legal document na nagko-command sa isang tao or isang entity para mag-testify bilang witness anytime, no? Or mag-provide ng legal document. Sige, isa-isahin natin. Ang summon po, guys, is an official notice issued to a person requiring them to appear in court or to respond to legal proceedings. Ibig sabihin, kailangan sila talaga at required talaga sila na pumunta sa court. Tapos, pumunta doon sa legal proceedings. Official notice lang siya, notice. Pag court order naman po, it is a directive, again, directive or order na issued by a judge requiring a person to perform or retain from performing a specific action. Ibig sabihin, pinag-uutusan ng isang tao na pagbawalan or mapilit siyang gawin talaga yon, no? Ang example niyan is yung recent court order na inilabas para sa gag order o baga what I call this, 'di ba, nag-controversial yung news about Daryl Yap and Vic Soto, yung bang controversial na movie ni Daryl Yap na ang rapist ni Papsi Paloma, ayun. So, ang gag order doon ay isang court order. Ibig sabihin, hindi pinipigilan si Daryl Yap or si Vic Soto na magsalita about the case, no? Hindi sila pwedeng magsalita about the case. So, pwedeng gawin yun ng court. Ang subpoena naman po, ito yung legal document na nag-order sa isang tao na mag-testify sa court or magbigay ng evidence. Ang call to court, ito po ay formal request or notification for a person to appear in court for legal proceedings. Formal request lang po siya. Ang parole naman, ito naman yung conditional release of a prisoner before the completion of their sentence, subject to good behavior and compliance with specific terms. Ito naman po yung kunwari, yung sentence mo is 3 years, pero because maganda ang yung behavior sa loob ng kulungan, pwede kang ma-release in 1.5 years lang. Yun yung parole. So, sandyan po ang legal document na nag-uutos sa isang tao na mag-testify at mag-provide ng evidence. Of course, isa lang po, and that is the subpoena. Again, number 3, subpoena. Number 14 tayo, guys. Our Constitution provides that no person shall be compelled to be a witness against oneself. This is called 1. Exclusionary rule, 2. The right against self-incrimination, 3. Right to suffrage, 4. Freedom of expression, or 5. Due process. Ano nga po ang answer? Sige, isa-isahin natin, guys. Actually, ang exclusionary rule, ito po yung rule na nagbabawal na i-admit ang evidence na nakuha illegally. Kunwari, may evidence po na inadmit sa court ng isang attorney. Kunwari, recording of a conversation. Ngayon, hindi siya pwedeng i-admit kasi nga yung recording na yun ay violation sa privacy or parang anti-wiretapping law, 'di ba? Kaya nga dati yun bang yung naging viral na recording ni Gloria Arroyo, yun bang Hello Garci, kamusta ang boto natin dyan? Yun. Hindi talaga siya naging kaso kasi hindi naman siya pwedeng i-admit sa court of law. Hindi siya admissible kasi nga na-obtain yung evidence na yun illegally. So, exclusionary rule. Excluded po siya sa evidence. Yun po ibig sabihin nun. Pag sinabi natin right to self-incrimination, ito naman yung i-invoke mo yun na yun na right kung ang sasabihin mo ay magdadawit sa sarili mo. 'Di ba? Ganon. Kunwari, yun bang kay Janet Napoles, nung tinanong siya doon sa Senate na, anong masasabi mo sa ganito ganyan? I invoke my right against self-incrimination. Ayan, 'di ba? Yun pang, ikaw, madadamay ka kung magsasalita ka. So, may right ka na hindi magsalita laban sa sarili mo. Ayun yon. Pag sinabi natin right to suffrage, ito naman yung karapatan mong magboto or mag-vote. Ang freedom of expression naman, ito naman yung karapatan mo para magsalita at magbigay ng opinion. Ang due process naman, ito naman yung actual process na kailangan pagdaanan ng isang tao bago mo siya ikulong or patayin. Ganon. Hindi mo siya pwedeng kunan ng kahit anong karapatan hanggat hindi siya dumadaan sa due process. Kumbaga, hindi mo siya pwedeng hatulan na guilty siya na hindi pa siya dumadaan sa court of law. Una, kailangan mo nang patunayan na guilty siya. Yun yung due process. So, ang correct answer po natin dyan, ayan. Number 2, right against self-incrimination. Na no person shall be compelled to be a witness against oneself. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng maging witness sa sarili mo. Hindi mo pwedeng sirain ang sarili mo. Ganun yun. Number 15. This refers to the right of the people, citizens, to congregate peacefully in a public meeting to discuss issues and matters interest to them. Ano daw ang tawag doon? Right to petition, right to assembly, right to inclusion, right to dispersion, or right of love. Pag sinabi po natin, oh my God, nakita na yung answer. Pag sinabi po natin yung right to petition, ito po yung karapatan mo na magpetisyon or kumbaga, kumwestiyon or maging kasali. Ganon. Ibig sabihin, kunwari, gusto mong baguhin ang isang bagay or isang law, for example, pwede kang kumalap ng mga, kumalap ka ng iba't ibang signatures. Yun bang people's initiative? Yun bang charter change para baguhin daw yung constitution? Parang petition yun siya, guys. Pag sinabi natin right to assembly, ito naman yung karapatan mo para bumuo ng isang grupo or public meeting na peaceful o kaya hindi violence ang what you call this, ang point, no? Kaya katulad nung INC rally, di ba napansin niyo yun, yung unity rally ng INC, isang example po yun ng right of assembly. Kasi pwede naman silang maggrupo na walang, or peaceful lang ang kanilang ginagawa. So, wala naman silang ginagawang masama, so pwede po yun. Ang right of inclusion naman po, ay yung ang right mo or ang karapatan mo na makasali or makisali, no? So, hindi ka pwedeng i-exclude. Kailangan kasali ka talaga. Ang dispersion naman po, ito naman po yung karapatan actually ng government para kunin yung isang or i-seize ang isang property para i-distribute properly. No, hindi naman po yan siya normally ginagamit sa Philippines. Ang right of love naman po, ito naman po yung karapatan mong magmahal. O, 'di ba? Nakalagay po sa enshrined po sa Constitution na may karapatan kang magmahal. Kahit sino pa yan at kahit ano pa yan, may karapatan ka pong magmahal. Yes. So, asan dyan po yung right of the people to congregate peacefully. That is right of assembly. Correct. Napakita nyo na kanina. Sige, number 16 na tayo, guys. The minimum age of sexual consent was raised from 12 years old to blank years old to afford children better access to justice. Is it 118, 215, 316, 421, or 525? So, tinaas daw yung minimum age ng sexual consent. Ibig sabihin, ito yung tamang edad na nag-consent na yung bata na alam ko na sige, pumapayag akong mag-engage with sexual behavior. Ano daw yung ano daw age yun tinaas? Sige. Tinaas po yun sa from 12 to 16. 16 na po ang age. Ibig sabihin kapag 14 or 15, it is considered child abuse. So pag 14 or 15 pa lang tapos nag-sex na kayo or you engage in sexual behavior, hindi po, kahit pa sabihin ng bata na nag-agree siya or kahit pa sabihin mo nag-agree yung bata kasi 15 pa lang siya, hindi po yun siya considered legal. No? Illegal pa rin po yun siya. Number 17. This is a limitation of freedom of speech in which the state can punish anyone for speech encouraging people to engage in legal action or become disloyal to the state even if danger is quite remote. Ayan, sabi daw dito, ito daw yung limitation ng freedom of speech or bagang ang karapatin mo or kalayaan mo para magsalita. Ito limitation daw siya na nagpaparusa or pwedeng parusahan ng state yung sino man na nagsasalita na nag-encourage or baga pinipilit or kumbari ino-influence mo yung mga tao na gumawa ng isang illegal. Kumbari, naka-freedom of speech. Meron kang freedom of speech pero ang ginamit mo yung freedom of speech para kumbinsihin yung ibang classmate mo na magnakaw. Oh, pwede ka pong kasuhan 'yan. O kaya yung disloyal to the state o kaya gawin mong kumbaga traidorin natin yung Philippines, maging ganito tayo, ganyan, 'di ba? So, kahit daw remote lang yung danger, ibig sabihin, kahit maliit lang yung danger na pinost niya, no? Kahit hindi naman siya ganoon kalaki. Ano daw ang tawag doon? Sige. Isa-isahin po natin yung dangerous tendency rule. Ang dangerous tendency rule, ito po yung rule allowing the restriction of speech. Ibig sabihin, pwede ka pong pigilan magsalita if you pose a potential danger. Ibig sabihin, potential danger to the public order. Ayan. Pag sinabi po natin clear and present danger, ito po yung principle na nagli-limit sa freedom of expression when it poses an immediate, ibig sabihin agad-agad, na significant threat to the public safety or national security. Ang divisibility rule naman po ay principles in obligations where divisible contracts or duties can be performed in parts without affecting their nature or purpose. Wala naman po siyang kinalaman dito kasi pareho sa mga contract. Ibig sabihin, sa enforceability ng contract. Ang break-even rule naman po, ito yung financial principle ensuring that no profit or loss occurs when total revenue equals total cost. Ibig sabihin daw, yung total daw na income at yung total mo na ginastos ay equal, hindi ka po pwedeng declare ng profit or hindi ka din pwede mag-declare ng loss. Ang writ of habeas corpus naman po, ito ang legal remedy ensuring protection against unlawful detention by requiring the government to justify the legality of a person's imprisonment. Ibig sabihin, ito ba yung mga illegal detention? Pwede nyo i-invoke yung writ of habeas corpus, which literally translates to produce the body. Ibig sabihin, ilabas niyo siya. No? So, kailangan pong i-justify kung bakit ka kinulong or bakit ka dinitain. So during the martial law era of Marcos, it was then that the writ of habeas corpus was suspended. Ibig sabihin, pwede silang mag-detain or humuli ng kahit sino without justification. No? Pero ngayon, hindi na po yan siya nakalagay sa Constitution. In-exclude na po yan sa Constitution. Number 8. So, ano pong correct answer? Ang correct answer po dyan ay, ang letter A, then dangerous tendency. Kasi sabi dyan, yung danger daw ay remote pa. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya ganun kaklaro. Dito, sabi niya, potential danger pa lang. Pag clear and present danger rule naman po, ito po yung klarong-klaro na talaga, na danger talaga yan pag sinabi niya yan. No? So, hindi niya, pwede talaga siyang pigilan ng gobyerno. Number 18 na po tayo. The Republic Act number 11313 or the Safe Spaces Act, which covers all forms of gender-based sexual harassment or GBSH committed in public spaces, educational or training institutions, workplace, and online space is also known as 1. Bawal Bastos Law, 2. Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program, 3. Magna Carta Law for Women, 4. Bayanihan to Recover as One, or 5. Maharlika Wealth Fund. Ano daw doon? Ano daw ang tawag doon sa 113 or Safe Spaces? Sige. Kung titignan mo dyan, yung Safe Spaces Act, yung Maharlika Wealth Fund, hindi naman po siya, wealth nga wealth, ibig sabihin kayamanan, hindi naman po siya nagka-cover ng safe spaces. Yung Magna Carta for Women, pwede siya. Yung Pantawid Pamilyang Program, 4 piece po yan. So that's social amelioration. Ibig sabihin, magbibigay ng assistance. Hindi naman yun assistance ang Safe Spaces Act kasi nga against sexual harassment. Ang Magna Carta Law for Women, pwede siya. Bayanihan to Recover as One, pwede din siya. Pero, ang actual po na answer is Bawal Bastos Law. Kumbaga, Safe Spaces Act, ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng bastos-bastos. So, kunwari, dadaan kayo sa isang, may nagiinuman, tapos sinitsitan ka, o kaya tinawag ka ng something sexual, pwede ka pong magkaso against yung Republic Act 11313. Which is the Bawal Bastos Law. Correct. Sige, so alam nyo na guys, protected na kayo pag dumadaan kayo dyan, tapos sinabihan kayo ng something na bastos, pwede ka na pong magreklamo. Correct. Sige. Number 19 na po tayo. Guys, 31 questions na lang. How can ancestral land of cultural communities be protected from encroachment by land prospectors? Paano daw mapaprotektahan yung mga ancestral land? Ibig sabihin, dyan na sila nakatira for a long time for cultural communities na hindi daw yun mabili or hindi makuha ng mga land prospectors. Ano doon? Sige, isa-isa natin yung 1, declaring ancestral domains, strengthening forest police, land zoning for heavier legal sanctions for land grabbing or settling in. Pag sinabi po natin settling in, ito po yung magsettle ka. Or kumbaga, mag-move ka dyan or dyan ka na tumira. Ayan, yun yung settling in. Hindi naman po yan yung hinanap natin. Yung heavier legal sanctions for land grabbing, ito naman yung mas mabigat daw na parusa para doon sa mga nangunguha or nangangamkam ng lupa. No? Pero ang hinanap po natin dito is paano daw mapaprotektahan yung ancestral land. So hindi naman po yan. Pwede naman po siya, pero hindi yan po ang hinanap natin. Ang land zoning naman po, ito yung pag-divide mo ng different zones ng isang land para sa different functions. Kung itong zone na ito ay para sa medical function, itong zone na ito ay tirahan lang talaga, itong zone na ito ay school zone, ganun. Diba? Kaya meron kayong school zone, Ibig sabihin, ang zone na yan ay para lang talaga sa schooling. Ayan. So, hindi natin siya isasagot kasi schooling naman yung hinahanap natin. Ang strengthening forest police po, wala naman po siyang kinalaman sa land, no? Hindi natin siya hihanapin. Ang para po maprotektahan yung mga cultural communities na ancestral land na, yung clue po natin dyan, ancestral, ang gagawin po natin ay declare ancestral domains. Ibig sabihin, pag na-declare mo yun siya na ancestral domains, hindi na siya pwedeng i-commercialize or hindi na siya pwedeng bilhin at ibenta. Gets niyo po? Sige. So, ibig sabihin, hindi na din kayo pwedeng mapaalis dyan sa ancestral domain na yan. Sige. I hope na gets yan. Number 20 na po tayo. What law orders the use of alternative fuel such as the blending of cocomethyl ester or CME in diesel and in gasoline? Ano dong tawag dun sa law na nagpo-propose, nagwamit daw tayo ng alternatibong mga fuel. Tapos ang gagawin daw is i-combine mo daw yung CME sa diesel and gasoline. Anong tawag doon? Is it 1, Biofuel Act of 2006 or Fuel Development Act, Alternative Oil Law, Clean Air Act, or IPRA Law? Sige nga, tignan natin. Yung 1 po, yung Biofuel Act of 2006 is also known as Republic Act number 9637. Ito po yung nagpo-promote ng renewable biofuels by mandating na i-blend or ipaghalo ang fossil fuels to reduce oil dependency, enhance energy, and protect the environment. Ang Fuel Development Act naman po, ito po yung nag-laws or initiatives encouraging the development of alternative renewable fuel sources. But there is no specific law that by this title exists. Ang alternative oil law naman po, ito naman yung promoting alternative sustainable energy sources to reduce reliance on traditional oil. Ang Clean Air Act of Clean Air Act is also called as the Republic Act number 8749, aims to reduce air pollution. Wala naman po sinabing air pollution doon. And IPRA Law, or the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997, recognizes and protects indigenous people's rights over ancestral domains. Ito po yung ancestral domains kanina na hindi sila pwedeng paalisin basta-basta kapag doon na sila nakatira for a very long time. So, saan dyan po yung nagbi-blend o ang ating ipaghalo daw yung fuel doon sa MCE. So, asan dyan po yung may blend, number 1 lang po ang may blend dyan, which is Biofuel Act of 2006. And kaya, ang correct answer po natin dyan ay number 1. Again, kahit may alternative law, meron pong alternative fuel dyan, ang clue po na talaga is blending. Ibig sabihin, paghahalo ng CME and diesel in gasoline. Ang correct answer po natin dyan ay 1. Memorize po. Pag Biofuel Act, ang keyword po ay blend. Blend po ang ating keyword, ha? Sandali lang. Ating keyword sa Biofuel Act ay blend. Sige. Number 21. What is the name for the estimated measurement of the ground motion that occurs during an earthquake? Ano daw ang estimate doon so kung gaano kalakas yung earthquake? Ayan. Gaano daw kalakas yung ground motion ng earthquake? Is it the 1 Richter scale, 2 Richter scale, 3 Richter scale, or 4 Homerian scale? Wala pong Homerian scale. Meron pong Homerian scale pero hindi po siya ginagamit para sa earthquake. Tapos wala pong Richter scale at wala din pong Richter scale. Isa lang po ang scale na ginagamit for, although dalawa po yan, magnitude at saka intensity. Yung intensity ata ang Richter. Correct. Ang Richter po ang ginagamit para mag-measure ng ground motion that occurs during an earthquake. Richter po na R-A-R-I or Richter, ano na lang, mayaman siya. Tignan nyo na lang. Si Richter, mayaman siya. So, ang spelling niya ay rich. Sige, ganun yun. Sige, number 22. Number 22 tayo, guys. What is the environmental law that requires industries to install anti-pollution device and bans the use of incinerators? Ang incinerators po, ito po yung mga nagsusunog ng mga basura or whatever. Kumaga, ginagamit siya pang sunog, yung incinerators. Kasi yung incinerators po kasi pinagbabawal siya dahil daw nagpo-produce siya ng very, very, very dark na usok which are harmful for the environment. No? So ano daw yung law na tawag doon? So alam na natin na yung IPRA law ay yung Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. Ibig sabihin, para yun sa ancestral domains, hindi natin sasagot. Ang anti-pollution pwede, Environmental Security Act, Clean Air Act pwede din, pero ang correct answer po talaga dyan, isa-isay natin. Pag sinabi natin Anti-Pollution Act, ito yung general term referring to the laws aimed at reducing pollution, though in the Philippines, specific pollution control measures are outlined in the Clean Air Act. No? Wala pong Anti-Pollution Act. Ang Environmental Security Act naman is a law that focuses on the protection of the environment and securing environmental resources against threats, aiming to address issues such as illegal logging, mining, and poaching. Ito naman yung nag-impose ng sanctions doon sa mga nagpuputol ng kahoy illegally. Yan yon. So hindi din yan pwede. Hindi din naman yung hinahanap natin. Ang hinahanap natin is yung pollution, anti-pollution. Ang Clean Air Act of or Republic Act 8749 is a law aimed at improving air quality in the Philippines by regulating and monitoring air emissions from various sources to reduce air pollution para daw mabawasan ang air pollution and protect public health. And number 4, Greenpeace Act naman is wala naman pong Greenpeace Act sa Philippines. But Greenpeace Act is an international environmental organization that campaigns for environmental protection. Ang APRA law, as nabalik na po natin kanina, ay Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997. So isa lang po dyan ang nagsasabi doon ng air pollution or ma-reduce ang air pollution, and that is the Clean Air Act. Ayan lang po ang para mabawasan ang air pollution. That is the Clean Air Act. Sige. Number 23. Warmer temperature can cause, ano daw yung result ng warmer temperature? Ibig sabihin, mas mainit na temperature. Can it intense drought in some regions, destabilization of ecosystems, decline of some plant and animal species. Oh. Actually, obvious po yan. Lahat po yan ay result ng warmer temperature. Nagkakos po siya ng drought, ibig sabihin, tagtuyot in some regions, at ma-destabilize yung ecosystem kasi nga meron tayong mini-maintain yung temperature. So, pag hindi siya na-maintain, ma-unbalance or wala ng equilibrium for ecosystems at magde-decline ng some plants kasi nga mamamatay sila because of too much init. So, correct answer po natin dyan ay number 1. Sige. Number 24 na po tayo. Number 24. Which is or are mandated by RA 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. 1. Promote national research and development programs for improved solid waste management and resource conservation techniques. That's correct po. More effective institutional arrangement and indigenous and improved methods of waste reduction, collection, and separation and recovery. Correct din po yan. Kasama din po yan siya sa Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. Wait lang po Yes. And pag sinabi po natin retain the strength and integration of retain primary enforcement and responsibility of solid waste management with local and government units, and then strengthen the integration of ecological solid waste management and resources. Conservation and recovery topics into the academic curricula of formal and non-formal education in order to promote environmental awareness and action among the citizenry. Correct din po yan. Lahat po yan ay correct. Kasama po yan sa Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. So, ang answer po natin ay number 1. Number 1 po ang answer natin. Number 25. Halfway na po tayo, guys. Konti na lang. Number 25. Among the programs of the government, which is seen by many economists as uncertain or ibig sabihin, hindi sure, rather than a time-tested approach to economic development. Asan dyan daw yung hindi sure na pang-improve ng economy. Is it technological advancement, technical vocational training, population control, industrial zone development, greenhouse effect control system? Ang technological advancement po ay proven and tested by time na nag-improve ng economic state natin. Ang technical vocational training pwede din po siya because ang training na yan ay nag-equip at nagagawa ng more skills at nagbibigay ng mas maraming trabaho. Ang population control po, hindi po talaga siya sure kasi kahit bumaba ang population, hindi sure na tataas ang environment natin or tataas ang economy natin. Ang industrial zone development po ay sure din po siya at ang greenhouse effect control system, sure din po siya. Kaya ang answer po natin dyan ay number 3, population control. Kasi kahit po makontrol natin yung population, hindi po sure na mag-improve yung economy natin kasi hindi naman pag bumaba yung number ng tao, sa taas yung economy kasi nga bababa yung consumers or let's say bababa yung demand, ganun. So yung production natin magso-slow down pa rin. Pero in a way makakatulong siya. Pero in theory, hindi po siya ganun ka-effective. Sige. Number 26 na tayo. Rights to ensure the well-being of the individual and foster the preservation, enrichment, and dynamic evolution of national culture based on the principle of unity and diversity in the climate of free and artistic and intellectual expression. Ayan daw yung karapatan mo na mag-foster ng preservation, enrichment, at national culture. O, meron na naman ng ano dyan, guys. Meron ng clue, which is culture. Culture-based. Kaya, as dyan yan, economic rights, political rights, cultural rights, civil rights, or freedom of speech. Ngayon guys, pag hindi nyo talaga alam yung answer, most of the time, nandoon na sa question yung answer. So, ang answer po natin dyan ay letter, ayan, nandyan po sa Article 1 ng ating Constitution. Oo, nakalagay po dyan na, ang nakalagay po dito ay, ayan dyan, nakalagay po sa Article 1 ng ating Philippine Constitution. Ito yung karapatan mo. The state is declared to foster the enrichment and dynamic evolution of the Filipino culture and the principle of unity and diversity. Ano po yan? Verbatim po yan. And nakalagay po, cultural preservation. Ang tawag po natin dyan ay cultural rights. Ang answer po natin ay number 3, cultural rights. Number 27 na po tayo. Ito naman po ay rights enjoyed by an individual as a consequence of being a member of a political body. Is it 1, economic rights, B, political rights, C, cultural rights, 4, civil rights, or 5, right to family? Ito daw yung karapatan mo na consequence ng pagiging member mo ng isang political body. Ano daw ang tawag mo doon sa karapatan na yun? Tingnan po natin, according sa ating source, ang civil rights po, ito po ang rights na na-specify under the Bill of Rights. Yun bang freedom of speech, right to information, or yung right to privacy, yan po yung civil rights. Nakalagay po yun doon sa civil rights, ay sa Bill of Rights, or kumbaga sa Article 3 ng ating Constitution. Pag sinabi po nating economic rights, ito po naman yung rights to property, whether personal, real, or intellectual. Some examples of these rights include the following: right to use and dispose of his property, right to practice one's profession, and right to make a living. Ito po yung mga karapatan natin na mag-own ng property, right natin na maghanap ng livelihood, at right natin na magtapon ng property. Ang isa naman po isang political rights. Ang political rights naman po ay yung rights ng individual that enjoys as a consequence of being a member of a political body or a body of politics. Some examples of political rights are the following: right to vote, right to be voted into public office. Yan po yung example. So kung babalik po tayo dito, verbatim po siya, no? As a consequence of being a member of a political body. And that is political rights. Ayan po, oh. Ayan, nakalagay dito, as a consequence of being a member of a political body. Verbatim po siya sa ating source, kaya ang correct answer po natin dyan ay number 2, political rights. Correct. Number 28 na po tayo. Number 28. Freedom of speech, right to information, right to a name, and right to form a family is a kind of what? Freedom of speech daw, ang right daw sa information, and right to a name, and right to form a family, ay nakaspecify yun kanina, di ba guys? Ay yung nandoon sa Bill of Rights, anong tawag doon? That is what we call civil rights. Ito yung mga rights nakaspecify under the Bill of Rights. Verbatim po ang freedom of speech and freedom of information. Nakalagay dyan po na specified yung mga karapatan mo na civil. Ibig sabihin, nandoon naka-enshrined sa Constitution. Kaya ang tawag po dyan ay, number 4, civil rights. Number 29 na po tayo. Right to property, whether personal, real, or intellectual. Ito yung karapatan mo na mag-own ng isang property. Whether it is personal, totoo, or intellectual. Pwede kasing intellectual property like an idea. Pwede din yun. No? So, ang tawag dyan po ay, specified natin kanina, these are rights to property, whether real, personal, or intellectual. Verbatim po sa ating source, and that was what we call economic rights. Economic rights po kapag property. Kapag property, economic. Kapag property, economic. Pag civil, yung rights natin sa Bill of Rights. And kapag political rights, yun yung consequence ng pagiging miyembro ng isang political body. Gets? I hope na gets. Number 30 na tayo guys. 20 questions na lang. No person shall be deprived of his life, liberty, or property unless due process is observed. One, equal protection of law. Two, right against unreasonable searches and seizures. Three, due process. Four, rights to privacy of communication and correspondence. Five, right against double jeopardy. Ano daw yan? Sabi daw dito, ito daw yung karapatan ng tao na hindi siya pwede mong tanggalan ng buhay, ng kalayaan or ng isang property nang hindi siya dumadaan sa isang tamang proseso ng law. Yun yung sinabi ko kanina. 'Di ba yung bang kahit pa ikaw yung nakita ka na ikaw yung pumatay, maraming witness, hindi ka pwede agad ikulong. Kailangan mo munang dumaan sa court of law, which is the due process. Kaya nga, hindi ka pwedeng patayin basta-basta. Kunwari, kung nag-violate ka ng duty, for example, sa military, nag-violate ka ng order, hindi ka pwedeng patayin on the spot kasi may karapatan ka para sa due process. Kailangan mo pang dumaan doon sa tamang proseso. Yun. Kaya nakalagay yan sa ating Bill of Rights, no? Article 3, Section 1. Sabi doon that no person shall be deprived of his life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Kailangan may due process talaga na-observe. So, saan dyan daw yung tawag doon? Is it equal protection of law? Or right against unreasonable searches, due process, right to privacy, or right to double jeopardy. Isa-isahin natin, my God, nakita niyo naman. Ang equal protection of law, guys, is ito yung kahit sino ka pa, kahit saan ka pang, kahit mayaman ka pa, or mahirap ka pa, or kahit ano pang kulay ng iyong balat, or kahit ano pang gender mo, dapat lahat kayo ay pantay-pantay sa mata ng batas. Yan yung equal protection of law. Pag sinabi naman yung right against unreasonable searches and seizures, ito yung bang ang karapatan mo na hindi ka pwede basta-bastang kapkapan, hindi ka pwede basta-bastang looban, hindi pwedeng pumasok basta-basta sa iyong bahay na wala silang evidence na may ginagawa kang masama. Yun. Pag sinabi nating due process, ito po yung karapatan mo na dumaan sa tamang proseso ng batas at hindi ka pwede basta-bastang tanggalan ng karapatan hangga't hindi ka pa dumadaan sa tamang proseso. Ang sinabi natin, right to privacy of communication and correspondence, ito yung karapatan mo na hindi i-disclose. Ibig sabihin, dapat private yung mga pinag-uusapan mo or pag nakikipag-usap ka. So, hindi mo kailangan na i-reveal yung mga pinag-usapan mo ng mga bagay na private. No, yun. And right against double jeopardy. Ang right against double jeopardy, ito po yung sinasabi natin, hindi ka pwedeng kasuhan ng dalawang beses. Hindi ka pwedeng you cannot be tried. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng patawag dyan, tried yung sa Filipino, yung bang hindi ka pwedeng hindi ka pwedeng ma-convict. Hindi ka pwedeng ma-convict. Hindi ka pwedeng makulong ng dalawang beses sa parehong crime. For example, murder. Pinatay mo yung husband mo. Tapos napatunayan na ikaw yung pumatay sa husband mo. Hindi ka na pwede ulit nakalaya ka na. Hindi ka pwede ulit kasuhan sa pagpatay ng husband mo. Kasi presumed, napatay na yung husband mo. Hindi ka na pwedeng makasuhan ulit sa parehong kaso. No? Pero hindi ibig sabihin na nagnakaw ka ngayon, hindi ka na pwedeng kasuhan na nagnakaw ka ulit. No? Kasi magkaiba naman sila ng mga circumstances. Kunwari, nagnakaw ka ngayon ng spam. Sunod, kahit nagnakaw ka pa ng spam, iba na yung na-date. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya double jeopardy. Ang double jeopardy na ibig sabihin natin is, kunwari, na-convict ka na or nakasuhan ka na sa kasong ito, tapos permanent na yon, hindi ka na pwedeng makasuhan ulit sa kasong yun. Yun yung double jeopardy. So, dyan yung correct answer. Of course, number 3, due process or the right to due process. Number 31. Equality in the enjoyment of similar rights and privileges granted by the law. It prohibits discrimination of persons based on ethnicity, race, religion, or belief, political inclination, social class, sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, civil status, medical condition, and the like. Ayan. Ito daw yung equality na pare-pareho kayo ng karapatan at pribilehiyo na binibigay ng batas. So kahit ano pa ang iyong religion, ang iyong political inclination, ang iyong yaman, ang iyong gender, ang iyong sexual orientation, hindi ka pwedeng i-discriminate ng batas. At na-discuss ko na yun kanina, ang tawag doon ay equal protection of law. Ibig sabihin, wala kang sa mata ng batas, walang mayaman mahirap. Dapat, no? But I hope yun din yung reality natin na sana kahit mayaman ka or mahirap, justice is served. Sige. Number 32 na tayo, guys. 18 questions na lang. Malapit na, malapit na. Hold on. Just keep holding on. Char lang. Then, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures of whatever nature and for any purpose shall be invaluable. Ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng may ma-violate yung karapatan mo na ma-feel na secured ka sa loob ng bahay mo, no? So, ang tawag doon, na-discuss ko na rin kanina ay right to I write against unreasonable searches and seizures. Nandiyan naman po nakalagay, unreasonable searches and seizures. So, specify naman po, nandun na sa questions, madali lang po siyang sagutan. Number 33 po tayo. This right allows persons to correspond and communicate with each other without the state having a right to pry into such correspondence. Ito daw, hindi pwedeng makialam or makipakinig or makinig ang state doon sa pakikipag-usap mo. And communication, except lang, upon lawful order of the court or instances of public safety and order. Ibig sabihin, kapag na-distort yung public safety or order, pwede kang mag-tap or pwede kang mag-wear ng wire. O kaya, nag-utos yung korte na, sige, gumamit ka nito ng wire na to para ma-record mo ito. Pwede yun. Pero, in normal cases, hindi. Kaya nga yung Hello Garci ni Gloria Arroyo before, hindi siya admissible sa court kasi technically, may right siya para sa kanyang privacy of communication. Kaya ang tawag doon ay, ayan, nakalagay dyan sa Constitution. Article 3 of the Constitution particularly provides the privacy of communication and correspondence shall be invaluable. Anong tawag doon? That is rights to privacy of communication and correspondence. Malapit na talaga tayo, guys. Number 34 na tayo. Ito naman ay, this protects your right to hold your opinions and to express them freely without government interference. It allows you freedom to receive information from other people by, for example, being part of an audience or reading a magazine. Ayan. So, 1, equal protection of the law, Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, right to privacy of communication and correspondence, or 5, dangerous tendency rule. Ngayon, sabi niya, ito daw yung nagpoprotekta sa karapatan mo para magsalita at magbigay ng iyong sariling opinion na hindi ka pinapakailaman ng gobyerno. Pwedeng simple na mag-receive ka ng information sa other people o kaya kahit magbabasa ka lang ng magazine. Ano daw ang tawag doon? Ang Equal Protection of Law, na-discuss na natin yan. Ang dangerous tendency, na-discuss na natin yan. Ang Bill of Rights, guys, ito yung isang section or isang article ng Constitution of the Philippines na nandoon lahat yung civil rights, di ba? Yung Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. Ang ito pong protect your heart to hold your opinions, nakalagay po yan sa Bill of Rights, pero hindi po yan siya yung entire Bill of Rights. Nakalagay lang siya doon. Ang right po na nagbibigay sa iyo ng karapatan para magsalita ay yung Article 3, Section 4 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Ang sabi po doon ay no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the freedom of the people to assemble and petition the governments for redress and grievances. Ibig sabihin, may karapatan kang magsalita at magpahayag ng kahit anong opinion as long as hindi ito nag-encourage ng illegal activities at defiance sa state. Ang correct answer po natin dyan ay freedom of speech. May freedom of speech ka po. Pwede ka pang magsalita. Kaya nga minsan pag sinabihan kayo ng mga classmate mo na, shut up, please shut up. Sabihin mo agad, Article 3, Section 4 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution states that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or of the people to assemble and petition the government for redress and grievances. O, diba? Ang tali-talino mo natin pakinggan. Ayan. Ako talaga, minimarize ko talaga yung article, yung Bill of Rights, kasi alam ko na nandoon ang aking mga karapatan na naka-enshrine sa Constitution at pwede ko siyang gamitin anytime na magkakaroon ng legal proceeding. So, hindi nila ako pwedeng makompel pag alam ko ang aking karapatan. Kaya kailangan, guys, alam nyo ang inyong karapatan. Kasi katulad ng mga nangyayaring hearing sa Senate ba or sa Congress, di ba? Yung mga ginagawa nilang pagpo-force na sumagot ang isang resource speaker, that is a violation po of constitutional rights, like yung against self-incrimination or yung ibang pinapa-divulge nila na information na pwedeng namang hindi sabihin, no? So yun po ay violation of the constitutional rights. Kaya kailangan, guys, alam mo yung karapatan mo para hindi ka pwedeng apak-apakan ng kahit na sino kasi alam mo ang iyong karapatan. Sige. Number 35. The state can punish anyone for speech encouraging people to engage in illegal action or become disloyal to the state even if danger is quite remote. Nasabi na po natin yan kanina, ang answer po dyan ay dangerous tendency rule. Again, pwede kang patawan ng parusa kapag ang iyong sinasabi ay naghihimok or what they call this, nangungumbinsi ng iba para mag-perform ng isang illegal na action. Like, nangungumbinsi ka na, hala, sige, magkuan tayo, ang tawag siya, magnakaw tayo, pwede yon, pwede kang parusahan doon. Kahit freedom of speech yon, kasi ang sinasabi mo is something illegal, hindi doon din nag-e-end ang freedom of speech. Number 36. A government can punish a person for speech that presents a danger leading to illegal acts. Anong tawag doon? Pwede ka daw parusahan na mag-present ng danger na mag-proceed sa illegal acts. Ang tawag na po dyan ay clear and present danger rule. Ibig sabihin, that presents, sure na yung sasabihin mo ay magre-result sa illegal act. Pag sinabi po kasi natin dangerous tendency, ibig sabihin, tendency pa lang siya, potential pa lang siya na mangyayari. Pero pag clear and present, alam mo na sure at pag sinabi mo yan, magiging illegal talaga yung mangyayari. That is what we call clear and present. So again, pag potential pa lang, dangerous tendency pa lang. Pero pag sure na, that is clear and present danger rule. Number 37. Malapit na tayo guys. 13 questions na lang. Hindi nyo napansin, di ba? Ang bilis ko kasi magsalita. Kailangan ko ba bagalan? I'm very, very sorry. I'm sure, hindi ko na kasi kailangan pang i-discuss yung most of this kasi alam kong naintindihan nyo na. Number 37. The legislative power of the government shall be vested in the legislative. Ano ibig sabihin ng legislative, guys? Ito yung paggawa ng batas. Ibig sabihin, you are the maker of the law. Sino daw ang gumagawa ng batas? President, Congress, Supreme Court, naturalization, all of the above. So, alam mo na yung naturalization, hindi naman yan siya tao, hindi din naman siya body para gumawa ng batas. So, hindi natin siya isasagot. So, dahil meron ng isang sagot na hindi tama, hindi na din sagot yung all of the above. So, saan yung sagot natin dyan? Is it the President, the Congress, or the Supreme Court? Ang President, ang nire-represent niya ay yung executive body, di ba? Executive. Siya yung pwedeng mag-veto ng batas at siya ang siya ang commanding officer or sa commander-in-chief ng ating military. So, pwede siya mag-command sa ating military, ganun. At nasa kanyang kapangyarihan din ay ang cabinet or yung mga department secretaries. Ibig sabihin yung mga iba't ibang sector ng government or yung iba't ibang sector ng ating bansa, like yung Department of Education, Department of DPWH, yun. Sa kanya yung direktang nag-report. Siya yung nag-represent ng executive. Pero apart from the president, ang part din ng executive yung mga mayor, kasi diba yung mga mayor, pwede silang gumawa ng ordinance, ganun. Pwede sila magpatupad nun. Ang Congress naman, guys, ito naman sila yung ang upper house and lower house. Ang upper house, ito yung Senate, which makes 24 senators. At yung lower house naman ay yung Congress or yung House of Representatives. So, sila yung Congress. Silang dalawa, Congress sila. Sila yung bicameral Congress. Ibig sabihin, together, the Senate and the House of Representatives are one Congress. Ang kanilang trabaho ay gumawa ng batas. Kaya nga kung napapansin nyo, yung mga hearing doon sa Congress, those are in aid of legislation. Ibig sabihin, yung hearing nila, mag-hearing sila para makagawa sila ng batas based on that hearing. Pero ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, witch hunt na lang siya. Hindi na siya in aid of legislation. Gumagawa-gawa na lang sila ng kung ano-anong mga rules, 'di ba, sa Congress. Yun. Ang Supreme Court naman, siya naman yung power of the judiciary. Ibig sabihin, siya yung nagbabala ay nagtumitingin kung ang ginagawa ba ng executive at ng legislative ay constitutional or lawful, no? Ayun naman yung power niya. So sino nga yung legislative? Again, pag legislative, yung tagagawa ng batas. Sino yung gumagawa ng batas? That is the Congress. Again, Congress. Number 38, guys. What is the maximum amount of time that a public official or employee must respond to letters sent by the public? Ito daw yung gaano daw kahaba yung maximum days or time na pwedeng ibigay sa isang public employee. Kunwari, ikaw nagtatrabaho ka sa gobyerno, kunwari sa munisipyo ka, tapos kunwari nag-apply sila ng clearance for something, tapos nag-write sila ng letter sa'yo. Kailangan yung maximum days na magre-respond ka ay nakaspecify gaano siya katagal. Is it 15 days, 1 month, 7 working days, 5 working days, or 1 week? So, ikaw bilang isang membro ng public, pwede kang magreklamo kapag lumabag na sila dito. Tignan natin. Sabi dito sa ating Declaration of Duties of Public Officials and Employees. In the performance of their duties, all public officials and employees are under the obligation to act promptly on letters and requests or request ng public. All public officials and employees shall within 15 working days from receipt thereof respond to letters, telegrams, or other means of communication sent by the public. the reply must contain the action. Ayan. So yung public daw, pwedeng mag-letter doon sa isang public official. Tapos, dapat within 15 days, mag-respond siya doon. Tapos yung letter daw na i-respond nila, meron na doon yung action based on the request of the public. Ayan. So, ang correct answer po doon ay 15 days. Kaya nga guys, pag kunwari, meron kayong petition or nag-send kayo ng letter sa isang public official, tapos isang buwan na hindi pa rin kayo nare-replyan, pwede na kayong magreklamo. Actually, pwede na kayong magreklamo, guys. Sige. Number 39. Tingnan nga natin kung nagre-record ba ako. Keep. Tingnan ko muna, guys, kung nagre-record ba siya. Ayan, nagre-record nga siya. Number 39, guys. 11 na tayo. 11 na lang. How many senators are there in the Senate? Very easy, guys. That is 24. Pero, every cycle po ay 12 lang ang ini-elect. Kasi 6 years man yung kanilang term. So, after ng 6 years, iba na naman ang kanilang i-elect. No? Ganun yung term ng isang senator. Hindi 24 agad-agad in one cycle i-elect sila. Sa election cycle na ngayon, 12 lang yung elect. Sa next cycle, 12 lang. Pero 24 po silang lahat. Number 40. Which of the following bills do not originate from the House of Representatives? Again, di ba, pag gagawa ng law or legislative, ang House of Representatives yan siya. Sino dyan, or asan dyan yung hindi kasali? Ang hindi po dyan kasali ay amnesty. Ang amnesty po ay galing ata sa President. Opo. Pag bills po, bills, galing po yan sa House of Representatives. Amnesty agreement. Number 41. The Supreme Court is composed of 1 Chief Justice and 14 Associate Justices, 2 Chief Justices and 14 Associate Justices, 3 Chief Justice and 12 Associate Justices, 4 Chief Justice and an indefinite number of Associate Justices, or none of the above. Ang Supreme Court, siya ang judicial, di ba? Isa lang po ang leader niyan. Kung sa House of Representatives, ang leader ng House of Representatives is the Speaker of the House at ang leader ng Executive ay ang President, isa lang din po ang leader ng Supreme Court, and that is the Chief Justice. Ang Chief Justice po ay isa lang, hindi po pwedeng dalawa. So, hindi na natin sasagot si number 2. Hindi na natin sasagot si number 2 kasi dalawa man yan. Yan. So, hindi natin sasagot si 3 kasi 14 din dapat. 14 ang Associate Justices. In total, dapat 15 silang lahat. So, hindi po din indefinite kasi sure po na 14. Kaya ang correct answer po natin ay 1. Dapat po, ang Supreme Court ay may 15 ka justices. That's Chief Justice and 14 Associate Justice. So, 15 po ang kanilang total para ang vote po ay even. Kumbaga, pag mag-vote na sila sa isang law or sa isang petition, ay, ano po talaga, parang, what they call this, uneven or odd. Ibig sabihin, merong tiebreaker. Kumbaga, hindi talaga magiging tie. Correct. Number 42. Which of the following is a constitutional commission? Is it Commission on Human Rights, the Philippine Commission on Government, Civil Service Commission, Commission on Natural Resources, or all of the above? All of the other commissions po ay ginawa na lang na commission. Ibig sabihin, ginawa na commission ng isang body. Kasi, ng President, gumawa ako ng Philippine Commission on Good Governance or gumawa ang legislation ng Philippine Commission on Good Governance kasi kailangan na itignan yung mga corrupt na official. Pero ang nakalagay po sa Constitution, ang Constitutional Commission po ay Civil Service Commission. Yan po yung tinitake nyo ngayon na exam, no? Para maging part kayo ng civil service. Maging eligible kayo for civil service. Kaya yan po yung nakalagay sa Constitution, which is a Constitutional Commission, Civil Service Commission. Number 43. What branch of the government has the sole right to initiate all cases of impeachment? Ano lang daw yung branch ng government ang may karapatan para mag-initiate or gumawa ng impeachment or magsimula ng impeachment case? Isa lang po, hindi po pwedeng ang Senate ang mag-initiate ng impeachment. Hindi din po pwedeng Commission on Elections at hindi po pwedeng ang Supreme Court. Ang mag-i-impeach lang po or magagawa or magpa-file ng impeachment ay ang House of Representatives or ang Congress. Ang Congress lang po ang mag-initiate ng impeachment. Number 44. Which of the following is not removable from office by impeachment? Member of the Supreme Court, member of the Constitutional Commissions, the Ombudsman, the Senators, all of the above. Ayan. So, ang member of the Supreme Court, pwede po siyang ma-impeach from office if it exceeds or if they exceed the judicial authority. Katulad po ni Renato Corona, na-impeach po siya as Chief Justice. Diba? So, pwede po yan. So, hindi po siya i-answer natin kasi sabi dito, not removable. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo pwedeng tanggalin sa office by impeachment. Member of the Constitutional Commissions, pwede mo din po siyang i-impeach. Ang ombudsman ay pwede din pong i-impeach. Isa lang po ang hindi pwedeng i-impeach dyan. Dyan po ang senators. Ayan. Ang senators po ay legislation po kasi sila. So, hindi sila na-i-impeach. Number 45. Which of the following is true about elective local officials? 1. The term of office is 3 years. 2. Barangay officials' term of office is indefinite. 3. An official may be re-elected indefinitely. 4. An official may not serve for less than 3 terms. Or 5. None of the above. Ang local officials po, yan po yung mga LGUs. Kasama po dyan yung mga barangay, mayor, and yan, mga barangay at mga mayor. At sila po, lahat po sila, mayor and barangay, whatever, sabay po yan sila na 3 years lang ang kanilang office. Ang true po ay 3 terms lang sila sa office. Kasi hindi naman po indefinite. Pag sinabi natin indefinite, hindi sure. Pag sure naman po na 3 years lang. An official may be re-elected indefinitely. Hindi po din indefinitely. Meron din pong number of times or limited number of times na pwedeng tumakbo ang isang official. Ibig sabihin, limited lang din. May not serve for less than 3 terms. Pwede din po. Sabi daw, hindi daw pwedeng mag-serve na bababa sa 3 terms. Pwede po. Kahit isang term ka lang mag-serve, pwede din yan. So, ang correct, mali po yan ang number 4. Kaya ang correct answer po natin ay number 1. Guys, 5 questions na lang talaga, guys. Number 46. What is recognized by the state as the foundation of the nation? Ano daw ang nire-recognize ng ating estado na foundation or parang pundasyon ng ating bansa? Barangay ba, community ba, family ba, municipality ba, region ba? Tignan natin ang ating constitution. According to Article 15, the family, the state recognizes the Filipino family as the foundation of the nation. Accordingly, it shall strengthen its solidarity and actively promote its total development. So, verbatim po sa ating constitution na ang foundation of the nation ay ang family. Dahil ito po ang basic unit of society. Diyan po nagsisimula ang lahat ng pag-develop ng isang tao, 'di ba? Pag ang isang anak ay minumold ng kanilang family. Kaya siya po ang foundation ng ating nation. Number 47, guys, konting-konti na lang talaga. What do you call the introductory part of the Constitution? A. 1. Preface. 2. Amendments. 3. Preamble. 4. Bill of Rights. 5. Introduction. Alam mo na hindi siya Bill of Rights kasi yung Bill of Rights, member man siya ng Article 3. Number 1 nga daw, introductory part. Hindi mo na siya sagot. Yung preface naman, guys, para lang yan siya sa books. Yung amendments, ginagawa yan siya after na nandiyan na yung Constitution. Kung gusto mong baguhin, mag-amend ka. Pero hindi yan po yung introduction. So, preamble or introduction. Tignan po natin ang ating Philippine Constitution. Ayan. 1987 Philippine Constitution, the first part is the preamble. Sabi dyan, we the sovereign Filipino people imploring the aid of Almighty God in order to build a just and humane society and establish a government that shall embody our ideals and aspiration, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of independence and democracy under the rule of law and the regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, peace, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. Ibig sabihin nun, guys, nandiyan, based on that preamble or introduction of the Constitution, nandiyan nakabase ang laman ng Constitution. Ibig sabihin, kapag nag-violate sa preamble, hindi mo siya pwedeng gawing batas. Kaya ang correct answer po natin dyan ay preamble or preamble of the Constitution. Number 3. Number 48 na tayo, guys. Which statement is true regarding the pre-Spanish government? Ibig sabihin, bago pa dumating ang mga Spaniards dito sa Philippines, ano daw ang totoo? 1. The datos exercise all powers of the government. 2. It was a centralized form of government. 3. Laws were created by an elected lawmaking body. 4. There was check and balance in the government. 5. None of the above is true. So, meron bang check and balance? Ang check and balance kasi, guys, yun bang ang 3 branches of the government ay tinitignan nilang each other. Kunwari, ang Supreme Court or ang judicial body, tinitignan nila kung tama pa ba ang ginagawa ng executive at legislative. So, ibig sabihin, they keep each other accountable. So, during the time, wala pa naman tayong 3 branches of the government. So, wala pa yung check and balance. Yung laws naman ay gumawa ng elected making, wala pang election noon, guys. Before dumating ang Spanish, wala pa tayong election. At hindi din centralized ang ating government kasi nga, magkakaiba naman tayo ng mga region at bawat region magkakaiba ng mga government. Ang totoo lang po dyan ay the datu or yung mga pinuno exercised all powers of the government. Di ba yung datu ang maker of the law, exerciser of the law, and the executioner or tagapataw ng parusa. Kaya ang correct lang po dyan ay number 1, the datus or the mga pinuno exercised all powers of the government. Last 2 questions, guys. Farmers complain about their crops getting rotten easily during rainy season. So nag-complain na daw or nagreklamo na yung mga farmers na mabilis lang daw na malata yung kanilang mga mabulok yung kanilang mga crops during rainy season. Ano daw ang project ng government ang sasagot sa problemang ito? 1. Conducting seminar with farmers. 2. Ask middlemen to interfere. 3. Constructing farm-to-market roads. 4. Putting up cooperatives. Pag conducting a seminar, hindi naman, pag nag-seminar na sila, alam na nila, hindi na mabubulok. Hindi naman po natin makokontrol yung pagbulok ng crops, di ba? Hindi natin yan masasagot. Ang ask middlemen to interfere, kahit pa may middlemen yan, um, guys, ano pa rin, kanang matagal pa rin yung transportation. So, hindi naman siya, mabubulok pa rin yung mga crops. Constructing farm-to-market roads, mapapadali niya yung pag-deliver. So, hindi na siya mabubulok. Pwede siya. Putting up cooperatives, hindi din siya. So, ang correct answer po natin ay number 3. Diba? Dahil mag-farm-to-market, ito yung farm, tas market, mabilis na silang makakapunta. Kasi, ang problema kasi natin, yung farm, malayo sa market. So, yung farm natin, mag-transfer pa dito, yung i-transfer nila ng transportation dito, tapos dilipad na naman dito, tapos dilipad na naman dyan. So, malayo yung pupuntahan. So, tatagal yung process, tatagal yung pag-deliver. So, pag matagal yung mag-deliver, mabubulok na siya while gina-deliver, ba? Diba? So, ang correct answer natin ay number 3, constructing farm-to-market roads. And final question na tayo, guys. Number 50. What strategy can be used by the government to apply openness and democracy in order to win insurgents back into society? Ano daw yung strategy na pwedeng gawin ng government para daw magbigay tayo ng pagiging bukas at diplomatic? Yung diplomatic is yung hindi gumagamit ng dahas or violence para daw mapabalik natin yung mga NPA, for example, yung mga rebels para welcome natin sila sa society, pabalikin natin sa society. 1. Peace talks. 2. Cultural reform. 3. Counter-revolution, ideological education, or none of the above. Isa lang po ang dyan let's say, diplomatic strategy, which is peace talks. Kasi po, yung cultural reform, hindi po yun basta-basta. Yung counter-revolution naman po, lalabanan mo sila, di ba? Yung ideological education naman po, yun yung bang lahat ng ituturo mo ay yung pinaka-perfect. Hindi mo ituturo yung reality. Hindi naman po yun yung tama, di ba? Kaya ang correct answer po natin ay peace talks. And dyan po nagtatapos ang ating general information review for the civil service mock test 2. I am really hoping na makapasa at makuha niyo po ang eligibility na inyong pinapangarap para makapagtrabaho na po tayo sa civil service at sa gobyerno. Again, this is Kirsten Isaac Riquiza, an LPT, and always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, guys.